How does it feel to replace him in these clown shoes that you're now wearing?
And man, you came after me. You were like, hold on, let's just talk about rental arbitrage for a second. Blah. And I was like, wait, I agree.
So I was sitting in my office and my phone rings and it's Brandon Turner. And he basically says, hey man, I got some news. It's going to shock you. I'm leaving the podcast. He just rips the Band-Aid off. So we talked about why it made sense. He's got some other stuff going on with his company. You know, my first thought was, well, can we have a podcast without Brandon Turner? Because Brandon's face is sort of synonymous with BiggerPockets. And then the podcast itself, he grew it from nothing into something really, really big. And then Josh left and Brandon stuck along with it. And I was kind of his sidekick. You know, I was the Robin to his Batman. And that was my main concern is, can I find a person that's a good human being, has a good heart, operates out of integrity, and I have chemistry with, that can kind of like vibe around me the way that I learned to vibe around Brandon. And so, you know, we interviewed a couple people and I think Rob and I probably had the best chemistry. It's not necessarily that you're a better human being than anybody else, but you and I worked really well.
It was really hard to really go through this whole process because I couldn't tell anybody about it, really. So it was really eating me alive. It was like, I just wanted to talk about it on YouTube. That's like my outlet to vent and like talk about everything that's going on in life. I felt like I was lying to my audience. No, not really. But yeah, it was really cool. It was a really exciting opportunity.
So Rob, while we're talking about this 6'5" former partner of mine with size 24 shoes, how does it feel to replace him in these clown shoes that you're now wearing?
I've got bronchitis. And that's the commitment that I show to being a content creator. Well, first of all, let me ask you something. How tall is Brandon actually? Because you always say 6'8" on the show, which I always assume is not correct. Is it 6'5"? Do you actually know his height?
Yeah, he's 6'5". Brandon is such a cool guy. He's very humble. When he takes pictures with people that are not 6'5", which is like 99% of the population,
yeah, everybody,
he will squat down lower or he'll spread his feet apart so that he doesn't seem like he's as tall, just to help other people's egos. So the most common thing I get told when I get met by somebody is, I didn't realize you were this tall. Everyone says that to me. And I finally figured out, because they think Brandon's a regular human. So when I stand next to him in pictures, I look very short, but he's actually a 6'5" tree of a man.
Wait, how tall are you?
6'2".
Oh, dang, you are tall, man.
But I don't have the actual, like the hair helps a little bit,
sure.
You know, right?
Sure.
So I don't have that. I'm like a pure 6'2". Brandon's 6'5" with the big hair that shoots up.
Oh, I see.
More.
So that's where we get to the 6'8".
He's walking around like a 6'7", 6'8" type of guy.
Yeah, I'm a 5'8", so it's crazy to think that, you know, he's a foot taller than me with his hair. So to answer your question about replacing Brandon, there is no replacing Brandon. Brandon is, you know, 50% of where I got my foundation from real estate. You're the other 50%. And it's just really weird. I don't know. It's a very weird thing, because when I was on BiggerPockets the first time, I thought that went terribly. I had all these things planned out. I was going to say these things. I was like, if they asked me about this, I'm going to do that. If David asked me about glamping, I'm going to do that. Brandon asked me about YouTube. And so I actually just started with like the very beginning of my story, which was rental arbitrage. And man, you came after me. You were like, hold on, let's just talk about rental arbitrage for a second. You know, cash flow is important, but you're working and blah, blah. And I was like, wait, I agree. I don't do rental arbitrage anymore. I own my houses now. And you're like, oh, cool. All right, go on. And I was like, oh yeah. And I do glamping and this and that. So I was like, you know, at the end of my recording, I was like, oh man, I wish I could have said this or this or this. And then when the video actually came out, Tony Robinson, who's the co-host for the BiggerPockets Rookie podcast, he reached out and he was like, dude, I just heard the episode and it was so good. And everybody like kept tagging me on Instagram, and they were sending me messages and text messages all day. And it really was really cool. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I was a little hard on myself. Let me try this again. Maybe I was a little too, you know, I just don't want to say hard on. Hold on.
So now that you're on the podcast with me, what is your favorite part of it been?
I think for me, what I've always liked about the podcast in general is that it shows how creative people are. And what I mean by that is a lot of people that are on the show don't start out rich. Maybe some of them do, but not really. Everyone kind of starts off very scrappy, broke, or like, you know, just very modest, humble beginnings, if you will. And you kind of see through their story the journey that they take to become this multimillionaire. That's my favorite thing about BiggerPockets in general. You can basically go on a ride for an hour, right? And then really learn how someone was able to become a multimillionaire in 4 years through this process. My favorite part about being the host on the podcast is that I'm actually in the driver's seat of that conversation. And because I'm not necessarily super seasoned in all of these different areas like storage units or multifamily or anything, I have genuine questions when they're talking. Like, it's not for theater, it's not softballs. I always ask questions that I want to know the answer to because I'm like, how do they do that? And so being a part of that is very cool to me.
So one of the things that I think people can expect from us is, in addition to making the podcast or several podcasts every single week, we're also going to be buying property together and then sort of documenting what that journey looks like for other people. So if you're somebody who's new to real estate investing and you just want to know what are all the steps it takes, we're a great person to follow. If you're someone who's experienced in real estate investing and you want to step up, we're a great couple to follow. I think if you're just interested in the type of real estate we're buying, we like to get into the details and go on to the nuance of what we're doing. What we're really trying to do is show people this is the lens that we look at properties from, we look at business from, we look at decision making from, as we are learning that together, and then show you all how we're doing that. So if this goes well, we should get to where we're buying several properties every single month and sort of figure out what worked the best, what worked okay, maybe what didn't work at all, and then tweaking so you guys can learn and grow with us. Oftentimes, when you follow a successful person with some huge wholesaling company or this big flipper of $1 million properties, you're looking at the end of 5 to 10 years of making mistakes. And they've got this nice, shiny, amazing business, and it makes you feel like crap about yourself because you don't have that. And it's almost more discouraging than it is encouraging. You see the big check and you say, I want that. It's kind of like looking at a bodybuilder when they're on stage after they've been bodybuilding for 15 years, 10 years, and they're in the best shape they've ever been in because they were just like cutting weight and not drinking water for 12 days in a row. And you're like, yeah, that's inspiring. But then you go watch them work out and you say, I could never do that. Well, yeah, they didn't do that either when they were new. Just getting in the gym at all and picking the weights up was a win. And I think for investors, it's the same thing. Sometimes just getting the confidence to ask questions, to compare what this property is like versus that one, to see the vision of how you would turn it into something, even if you didn't, that could be a win. So that's what we're trying to do here is we're trying to show people from the beginning when we're asking all these questions to the end finished product, what are all the little steps in between so people can be encouraged that they don't have to be perfect right off the bat.
Couldn't have said it better myself, my friend. I'm very excited to be the co-host along your side. I'm excited to close on this property in Scottsdale. We'll actually get to meet in a couple weeks from now at the property while we set it up. Maybe we'll even get a video in out of it. So,
we should get a bunch of them as long as I can remember a SIM card this time.
Yeah, don't forget your SIM card. We need that.
Stay tuned for a future video of our Spanish mansion in Scottsdale. That is a kick-ass property, and we're both very excited about.
Yeah, we got a video coming out on your channel pretty soon, and then I've got a video about it running through the economics on it on my channel, so you can go check that out on the Rob Built channel.
You should also check out everything else on the Rob Built channel because it's pure gold, baby.
Like, subscribe, and leave me a comment.